So, I think officially, that's just gonna start the first ever little episode of the. What are we calling? What are we calling this right now? I'm stuttering like crazy.
Because
this isn't really. It's not the other one yet. This is just a little intro. So.
This is like episode 0. This is
episode 0. Just a little introduction to everything. What we're doing. You know, our little channel. What it's gonna be like. We can expect. Currently, as it is, not much, man.
Honestly, so this could be the beginning of something really great or something.
That's what we're hoping for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys watching along, you can help us like shape this however you want it to be, but obviously we're still in charge. So,
you know, don't. Bro, exactly. Like we're gonna push everyone away already. Fuck you guys.
Basically, you peasants. This is how we're gonna explain things.
This is how it's gonna be. It's us or nothing else.
I keep bumping my mic. I'm really sorry about that.
I think I'm shaking my camera too. So hopefully this camera, speaking of the camera, like hopefully this setup is good for you guys.
Yeah. I think we're going to be testing out, because we have a few like little methods of recording this. This is going to be the first little method that we're going to use in episode 0. And if anything, if you guys got any feedback, you want us to improve or anything, let us know. Do give us tips and we'll work on it. And by the next episode, subsequent episodes, you'll see like hopefully it's something that you like, and we'll continue to use that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's like to start off with, I think this channel is going to be very much feedback based. I don't know about you
guys a lot.
Yeah, so whatever we said in the intro, ignore us.
Just ignore it.
That wasn't it.
It's probably going to get cut out.
Half the people left already, you know.
Edit this out.
Yeah, I think I might have to, not gonna lie. But basically, yeah, I think it's because what we're doing, we're starting off with all the applications we're using, all the apps we're using, everything, the equipment even. We're pretty much like noobs to it.
New to this, babies, absolute fucking noobs. But that's fine, because I mean, let's just get into the meat of things, right? A little pun there. But basically, this channel was deciding it sort of like a hub. So there's going to be more in the future, maybe. We'll see how stuff goes. But as of right now, I think our main focus is going to be a podcast. And I mean, as it stands, the general vibes we're trying to go for is just, you literally like, well, what are you here for, right? To listen to the two guys talk. Come join.
It's literally a conversation.
You're in the same room as us. You might as well join in the topics, get a little feedback, drop a comment, add your views to whatever we're talking to you. And that's pretty much it. Because, I mean, this idea sort of started.
I was literally going to talk about it. I was literally going to talk about the origins of it, to be honest.
I'll pass that to you then.
Yeah, so basically the way this whole idea was born was that, I remember like I was on the train one time and I hit you up because I was listening to something and I hit you up. I was like, bro, like, let's start a podcast. And just like that, you're like, you didn't even say like what you want to do. Like, you're like, yeah, let's do it. Because
go on.
Yeah, like the reason I was thinking that, and then the fact that we're both on it is because I feel like to start off with, we do this every day anyways. Like
this is a regular thing. Like for us, this is like a little backstory, a little origin story. But I mean, obviously, as any other guys out there would probably know, bro, when you play games and just in general, when you talk to your bros, like stuff just happins, and we're trying to capture that and share it with you guys.
I guess,
yeah, exactly.
You don't know what happens.
Exactly. We're just trying to capture that, and we're just gonna share it with you guys, because sometimes like we really do capture gold. And I mean, I'm pretty sure some of like that late night sort of feel, the topics that you get into, the way stuff bleeds into each other, I feel like some of you might take a liking to that. So here's why we're here.
We might be playing like very late nights, but like I think most of the time when we're playing, we're not really talking about the game. We're more talking about just life and like weird
just
topics
general
in general,
life.
just having a conversation. And the whole idea was that like if we're gonna do that anyways, we might as well share it with you guys and
just see where it goes, really.
Pretty much,
because
like
we're just detaching that part of our sort of like routine. Because I mean, everyone doesn't really want to talk about the dreaded lockdowns and however many we went through, but it was a pretty important part for us, like during that lockdown, just to sort of get through it. Because I mean, no one really speaks of it much, but you sort of have to be there, for your friends. I don't know how you guys did it, but this is how we did it. and we just thought, you know, maybe there's someone out there, because who knows who this is gonna reach, right?
Right.
And maybe there's someone out there that needs this sort of thing, that needs this sort of vibe, this sort of like interaction, this sort of feeling. So, you know, that's what we're trying to provide. And obviously, entertainment, like we both love to do that shit.
Exactly. I think at the end of the day, that's pretty much it. Like, we're just here for a good time. We're just here to talk, and like if someone vibes with us, that's cool. If not, like that's cool too. Like, we appreciate like you guys tuning in, listening in, and
You know, like
it's literally just two
is-
guys having a conversation
Exactly.
about random stuff, probably the most useless random thing in the world.
Because I mean, how many podcasts have you seen? Everyone's on a podcast these days. Even us. Like this, this is why we hopped on. But I mean, hopefully, you know, it's just the right amount of vibes. Maybe some of you know us. Maybe some of you will get to know us and stick along the way and see the journey. You know, that's what I'm hoping on.
Exactly. Shout out to the guys who coming in from the Instagram page or the social media pages in general. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And if you're new and you just found out about the channel completely, hello, it's us.
Let us know when you watch the video how you found us, or you know, if you're from mutuals, if you found them from like word of mouth, if you just randomly like got recommended this one day. You know, just let us know in the comments, and we'll keep a track on that, because I'm always interested to see how this is going to reach people, or how many people this is going to reach. It's always interesting.
I think yeah, was exactly what you said. And I think we just love the interaction. It's gonna be a family based thing. So like, just jump in, like tune in, like leave your comment, get your mums, and that's too.
I don't know about that part. That's he's on his own there.
This is where we get cancelled in our first episode, by the way.
No, but honestly, I mean, like, as it stands, we are just completely new to this, which is fine.
I think it's
We're
pretty
gonna be new
obvious
to
right
this.
now. Yeah. We don't know what we're doing.
Right? Most of this might get edited. Maybe you'll leave it in. Who knows, man?
knows?
But
Who knows?
We're trying to go on a little journey, and you know, hopefully you guys come along with us. I mean, what else can we say right now, right? So
At the core of this, I think. Okay, so what's important is like, cause let's start off with the name, right? Marinate. Where did this
Marinate.
come from? Where?
okay, so obviously as per
Because it's a
usual,
weird
as
name. It's
per-
just a very strange name.
It's strange, right? Maybe some people might get the wrong idea and think that we're gonna do a cooking show. No. So
Here is my
I'll-
marinated chicken. That was
you know,
a
let's
bad
let that
joke.
marinate.
No.
Literally, that's where it came from. I mean, I don't know if this is specific to anyone else, or if this is sort of like contained within our sort of interactions, but late nights, your brain starts slowing down, you know, logic sort of starts going out the window, and you start busting some dad jokes. And I mean, that's where, like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the term or like the saying, you know, let that marinate for a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe in the kitchen you'll hear that. I don't know about outside, but I eventually like stumbled. I'd said that, like, when we were discussing the idea for this podcast. I was like, you know what? Let's let that marinate there for a bit.
Yeah.
And we sort of took a liking to it. Obviously, we had to work around, like, you know, ask for feedback. And at first, it wasn't all smooth sailings. I don't think everyone sort of agreed with the name, which is fine. Like, stuff like that. Everyone has opinions, and we're open to that, right?
I mean, honestly, I think that was the thing, because like he said, we were literally just talking about it, and I think we were talking about a different name, a completely different name.
It
And
was
he was-
completely different.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, you know, let's think about it, let's that marinate. And we both had like a second of like,
Yeah.
Pause.
The
We're
moment
like-
of silence.
Yeah,
and
we're
it just
like,
clicked. We were just like,
"Wait,
you know
hold
what?
on,
That sounds kind of good.
Yeah. So I think we did, like, both him and I, we asked our mutual friends, he asked his friends, and I asked my friends, and like, for, like, people we know in general, like, what do you think of it? And there were like a lot of people liked it, but
There
a
was
lot
a
of people
bit of
didn't as
both.
well. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's normal for everything. Obviously, there's gonna be people that agree or people that disagree, and we sort of took back the feedback and sort of balanced it between the two of us, because obviously we know that ultimately at the end of the day it is gonna be our thing. But we were like, okay, so since you know, obviously I'm biased towards this name, and Ayaz is like, he likes the name too, but he has his own thing, so we kind of split it.
Yeah.
But we're keeping both. You know, it's a little compromise, but not really. Both of it's still
Yeah.
there. It's still us. It's
I
still
mean,
our thing.
I feel like at the end of the day, a name is what you make it. So,
Mm.
you know, like, if it works, it works. You know, like
Exactly.
it could be called anything. Like if the content's there and like people are vibing with it, that's what matters. Because I think we're talking about the name Smosh. You know, I feel like it feels like such an
That was
outdated
a
thing to say.
reference. It's
Yeah.
a reference. You're really showing our age through
Bro,
this little podcast by
word,
talking about
word.
Smosh, right? Because
Like,
I mean, I can't even remember the last time I saw that name or any of their stuff.
for real,
It
for
feels
real.
like an era of YouTube or content creation that's just way in the past at this point.
Exactly. But the thing is, the reason why I still bring it up is the fact, what does it mean though? You know?
It's yeah, because at first we were really sort of debating the whole substance to the name, like the meaning behind it. Like, should it have a meaning? How much of a meaning should it be? Should it be personal? Should it be, like easily reachable? And at first, I feel like I had the more freeform approach, obviously, because the whole marinate thing. Like, I feel like you had a more, I guess, like professional view on it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I was trying to
And
find
then
like a deeper meaning or sort of like a
yeah, or something just
links.
catchy. And I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
like, I brought up the name Smosh because I mean, I'm not sure how many of you out there know. I'm pretty sure there's a good handful amount of people that still remember Smosh, right? But I literally rang up that example and I said, well, what does Smosh mean? I don't believe it means that much, or it probably does have a meaning to the host, obviously. Forgive me, I forgot their names at this point, but I do remember them.
I
I
remember
have to edit that part out.
Anthony. I remember.
I think it's like Anthony and Ian.
Ian.
Yeah. I remember their hairstyle more
Ooh,
than their names, but
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
anyways, getting back to
Legendary
the
boys.
topic, exactly right. Made most of my childhood, to be honest. I don't know if I should admit that, but anyways,
Food
yeah.
battles.
Going back to the topic, yeah, I said, well, since that to the general public is more of like a sound, a name, something recognizable, it doesn't necessarily have to have a deeper meaning. Like, we could play off puns. Like, I can think of so many puns or like little, like tidbits to do with marinate.
Yeah.
But
They gotta
that's-
come,
that's
by
not
the
the
way.
main
Just a heads up to you guys. We're gonna have so many dad jokes.
you're gonna
on
have
this
to deal
channel.
with that.
There's just
Yeah.
you're just gonna have to like you might wanna no it's gonna be
Just keep your expectations there. There's gonna be someone gonna drop on you. You might just want to leave the podcast, but I beg, like, just stay with us. It'll be all right.
give us a chance.
Just trust us here. Yeah, we're professionals.
We're professional.
sort
We
of.
know exactly what we're doing.
This isn't our first time doing this at all.
Nope. Izzy has his own little show on CBS and BBC, so he's a very well known person. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't have a.
I feel like I was just stiff there for about 5 seconds, but
Yeah, you should have backed me on that, bro. Like backed up my
Bro,
claims. Come on, man.
listen.
If you're gonna do this, we gotta do
Point
this together,
is,
bro.
By the time you see this, we might already be professionals, Maybe some of you, by the time you see this, some of you might be new. This is talking into the future, by the way. I'm just projecting, but I don't know.
We're
how
actually
long-
millionaires with like a lot of subscribers.
Yo, hopefully that's a dream, right? But I mean, no,
Yeah,
I'm joking.
PewDiePie is
The
nothing. Who is PewDiePie?
if you hear this, I'm not. This wasn't my idea. By the way,
Who are
Felix,
you, PewDiePie?
we love you. Anyways,
We do though.
on the real, we do. No, I was gonna say, shit, what was I gonna say now? Felix completely stolen my train of thought.
He's
fuck.
so-
It's happening. See,
the
this
stage
is.
fright caught on. This is
I'm not
it.
sure if this is gonna stay.
Thank you guys for
in-
watching. That was the video.
All right. Anyways, call that bullshit out.
I actually don't
Here's our
remember
thing.
myself. That's why I'm making fun of you, because I don't remember.
So we've already like introed everything. We've already like sort of explained. Now I'm gonna delve into
the kind of
more
content,
meaty
maybe.
side. Yeah, the more meaty side. What we're sort of aiming for. So obviously the general vibes we're going for is obviously a conversation between two friends. But what exactly are we gonna be conversating about? What are we gonna talking about? Well, that's gonna change per week. But I think the general focus, or what we like, what me and I sort of gravitate towards is more like the spooky side.
Yeah, honestly, like I feel like even when we like we said, like we do stay up and just play games and talk about like stuff pretty late, and then the most of the time, I mean, I would say pretty much almost like all of the time, like we gravitate towards things that's like just out of the ordinary, or like
Yeah. So the occult, strange stuff,
yeah,
not necessarily horror, but it might just be a concept that's sort of not the norm, okay? Like not your
yeah.
general reality, day-to-day life. Like
We don't want to be obviously we don't want to be talking about I saw a rat on the street today. It was eating
yeah, no,
pizza.
it's not gonna be
Although it would be a
anything
good,
dry.
interesting story if I did see a rat eating a pizza. Wasn't there like a video miles years ago that went viral
I mean,
of a New York rat?
mice
I don't know.
mice are everywhere in London, you know? Like just the tube. It's like a general thing. It's almost like New York but slightly smaller.
There was this fact I think I read somewhere, right? Apparently, even
Mm,
if all of humanity were to get destroyed by a nuclear holocaust or something,
right.
it would be the rats that would survive. And it's been the
Really?
rats forever, like, because they just find a way to. I don't know exactly. I might be talking out my
What, to
ass, but
scavenge food? I mean,
no, it's just
I've
they
heard
get
this.
because they stay underground. They can eat anything pretty much, and
All right. So I don't know so much about rats, but I have heard a similar thing, except instead of rats, they were talking about cockroaches. And here's the thing, right? I don't know if you've ever like, I don't know how much you know about cockroaches, and we're keeping this
I have
in.
a pet. Yeah, I have a pet
You have a
cockroach
pet cockroach.
called Johnny. Yeah,
You named it Johnny.
yeah.
Why Johnny? All right. So basically, here's the thing about cockroaches. I don't know if you know, but they can actually take a certain level of radiation. I don't know specifically, but they survive radiation. Like it doesn't kill them.
Yeah.
And they can survive a lot of things actually. They can survive dehydration, like they can stay for really long without food. You can cut off their head and they'll still move. And there's this theory where if we do eventually end up in like a nuclear war or like a nuclear sort of like apocalypse, right, humans are going to be absolutely eradicated. But because of this and the same sort of facts that you said, like they stay on the ground, so do cockroaches, and they could either survive or even thrive in this new sort of landscape, which is not a great thought,
Is that
to
the
be honest.
concept of Berserk, the anime or something?
No,
But I don't know anything about anime. Just disclaimer. Just
yeah,
saying.
that's fine. I can like this is literally why we're
Teach
here.
me.
So
Yes.
basically, this is the concept for this little manga slash anime called Terraformers, and I'm not sure if you've known about it, but basically they take that concept of cockroaches being able to survive and thrive, right, in sort of impossible circumstances for us. And in Terraformers, that whole plot is basically people are trying to terraform. You know about terraforming, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So terraforming is just when you know change the environment so that it's more suitable, more
Suitable towards
appropriate
you.
for
Yeah.
a certain group. So
Yeah.
in this case, obviously humans.
Yeah.
So in Terraform Mars, they are trying to terraform Mars
Yeah.
for people, and what they do is there's a team of scientists. They send off two organisms, one plant-based and one creature like alive sentient being. And what they send off is they send moss and they send cockroaches. So the idea is the moss will, take whatever gases in the atmosphere and grow and thrive, right? And start covering the surface of Mars. So that eventually there'll be a greenhouse effect and it's more appropriate for us. Meanwhile, the cockroaches are there to feed on the moss and create the carbon gases
Ooh.
or emissions. So eventually it makes a little ecosystem, right? From just those two organisms. Which
Interesting.
in an idea, like, speaking of, because I mean, I don't know how much this relates to real actual life, but I mean, everyone dreams of moving to a planet, right? Discovering a planet, having the capabilities to sort of, transverse the universe, space quickly enough so that in one human lifetime you can experience another planet, right? Everyone sort of dreams about that. It's been like that ever since the 1990s or whenever the race to space was.
Yeah,
Cockroaches,
around the
but
60s
I'm
maybe,
having
I
my
think.
money, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, that concept in Terraformers, I'm curious actually, like if that would work in real life, because I mean, people always debating on whether or not Mars has enough water content, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything else like the atmosphere might be light or not too suitable for humans as of yet, but I wonder how applicable it is. Obviously, in manga slash anime form, something goes horribly wrong, and that births the plot.
Yeah, I feel like with these stuff though, they always make me think though, like it might be a way,
Like,
because
how
it's
could it be applicable, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, because
because the basic sort of science is
Ex-
there. Obviously,
you know,
that's
yeah,
why it engages you. Like there's stuff like this all the time. Like in general sci-fi, there's always like a concept or a way, like flying cars.
yeah,
How much?
or like
Yeah,
like cars driving on water. That was like,
exactly. That was a
but
whole thing in a
there's actual
movie
cars.
once.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly, and now we're sort of like engineering towards that. So
Auto driving cars
how
like Teslas. That was, I didn't think I would see it this soon, bro.
right?
Like,
Autopilot, like
yeah, like
you've
that's
seen that
insane.
so much. I think my earliest recollection of something like that that I saw in media was the movie iRobot. We all know
Right.
iRobot, right?
Yes, yes.
So when Will Smith is that guy that rejects sort of all that all that new technology, he wants to be a down to earth guy. I'm starting to see that sort of mentality reflected in our day to day life now, because
Yeah.
I think it's been what, like 20 years since that movie's come out, or like something close to that. And obviously, with the way that technology has progressed and stuff, we're seeing a lot of things now, like you know, home assistants, Siri, AI,
Yeah.
auto
Like,
driving cars
just
from
ask your
Tesla.
phone, what's the
You
temperature
know,
outside? They'll tell
and
you.
like I even remember when people were scared of that. I think people still are. Some people still are scared of that because it's like, how much are they actually listening? Right? There's Google Home Assistant, Siri, Alexa, all of that.
Bro, I'm not joking. And like, this might be old news to some people, but even the
Yeah.
other day, I think I don't think I was even on my phone. I was just around my phone and I was talking about that how I need some bearings. Like I want to look into some
Mm,
bearings or like some wheels for
mm,
my skateboard, because I
mm.
lost my old skateboard. I wanted to buy a new one. And I don't know if I spoke to you about this too, but like basically I was just sitting and talking to someone and my phone was in the room. Obviously I'm around my phone.
Mm.
I swear I haven't Googled anything. I haven't searched anything.
Did you
Bro,
start
like at
getting?
night, yeah, bro, like I was at night, I was like looking at my phone. I think I was browsing through like
Yeah,
whatever I was browsing through, or even Instagram maybe, and I started getting
yeah, yeah.
adverts based on like bearings and stuff.
That's
That
weird.
freaked me out, bro. Like
I get, I get the same thing because sometimes like I'll just be talking about, oh, recently, right? I was just trying to talk about like, obviously you know how I've been telling you guys about how I'm trying to get a PC and whatnot, or graphics cards, how they're so hard to come around, how they're so hard to find. Now every single time I go on my phone, if I go on YouTube, I go on Instagram, I get ads on like PC parts, giving like the best sort of prices for GPUs now. And I mean, obviously part of that might be general sort of like cookies and the tabs that I've been on, but it gets weirder when you mention the speaking aspect of it, because I've told you, right, of the times where like I'll literally be speaking with someone, like just having a general conversation, and be talking with you guys on party, and my Siri would just go off and I didn't say anything
yeah, yeah. It
even
happens to
close
me too all
to
the time.
hey
Yeah, yeah.
Siri. Like it's happened so many times that I've had to disable that function because it gets kind
Okay,
of creepy, because
that's really
it
creepy. It brings
it
me to the
generally jump scares me.
whole point of like it's like some people I don't really do it, even though I
Yeah.
probably should. Yeah, some people put the tape around the camera of their laptops.
I Okay, so I never went to
What's your
that
standing on
extreme.
that? Yeah.
Like, I mean, okay, I agree, purely because of I had a personal experience when I was younger, and on the family laptop, I think we is either a virus or I got hacked, because okay, so you know how like most laptop cameras have that sort of indicating light that is on, right?
Yeah.
So I think one day I was just using the laptop as it is, and the light turned on, even though I wasn't on like any sort of program that would use it. So I wasn't on Skype, I wasn't using the camera app, I wasn't doing anything. And this was early. This was like prior to like the 2010s, or like around that time, right? So I was still a little kid. I didn't know exactly where it was, but I knew exactly that like it wasn't supposed to be happening, you know? And to combat that, because I didn't exactly know how to deal with viruses or how to check my system back at that time, because obviously I was a kid still. So I ended up just covering that camera and just sort of going about my usual, because it's not like I was doing anything important back then. I was just, playing games on the laptop. But that light would just occasionally come on
That's
and
creepy,
off
dude.
and on and
That's
off. And
mad
whoever
creepy.
it was trying, like at first, they were really trying to like see, you know? And eventually I put some blue tack or tape, whatever it was, to sort of cover the camera.
Ooh.
So even if it turned on, they wouldn't see anything. I'm not sure about audio. I'm not sure about key logging or watching my screen or anything like that. But back then I didn't really have to worry about that stuff because I wasn't doing anything important. I wasn't doing any banking. I wasn't using any important logins. But nowadays, because of that, even when I used to use my laptop and I left it like the screen on, or with this webcam, even like I'll always unplug the webcam if I'm not using it, or if my laptop screen is up and I don't know, say I'm generally getting changed in my room, I'll try to do it in a way that like it wouldn't be where the camera is facing, just in case, because you never know. Same thing with my phone sometimes, like with my phone, my iPad, like anything with a camera. Now and then I'll get sort of conscious about it. I wouldn't get paranoid, but I'll get conscious as to what they might be seeing. I'm not sure how. Like, what's your stance on that?
That's the thing. I feel like, to begin with, okay, first of all, I don't really cover my camera still with a blue tack or anything.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like as time passes, I'm getting a bit more and more wary about this, because I have a lot of friends like who do cover it, because they just don't want they just don't want to risk it. At first I was like, I'm not that important of a person. Like, I don't really have that important documents on my computer, Yes,
Yeah, sure.
you mentioned a really good thing about bank details, which I didn't think of for some reason. But yeah, but I was kind of thinking, like, in general, what are you gonna do? You can't find a scandal on me, like, I'm not that important of a person. But like, the more and more I think about it, it is creepy. Like, you're important. You're like an
It's
important person
very
or
weird.
not. You know what I mean? Also, like, I think I read somewhere, again, like, I might be chatting out of my ass, like, don't quote me, but basically I used to think they can get into your laptop through like the internet or the IP address or whatever, but it's not just that apparently anymore. Like, they're like, I think in America or something, there's these vans set up with these antennas and everything. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I feel like I've heard about this, but go on.
Yeah. So basically what they do is like they drive around people's neighborhood and they can tap into your connection or whatever, and they have access to your stuff.
It's all right. So that brings me to an interesting thought I've had, right? So usually with the way it is, with new technology and everything, how do you visualize it all, right? Like, all these connections going on, what might it look like if you could see it? Like all your Wi-Fi connections or your Bluetooth, right? It's all this huge sort of, I imagine it in a way that's like, have you ever seen like a river or pond, any surface of water? When you drop stuff into it and then there's all those ripples and the ripples collide and pass through. That's how I imagine these sort of waves and signals to be. They're sort of like nets almost, or like ripples, right? And that the interesting with what you just mentioned is these vans that sort of just drive around and randomly catch these signals. I always imagine it as like they have these nets specifically to catch these sort of ripples, and once they've caught them, they can just sort of like sneak away into it. And that's crazy to me because I don't know if people ever really had this thought in mind about like cybersecurity. Obviously now it's very prevalent. You have like VPNs, you have all these antiviruses, security programs, stuff like that. But I mean, with an ever evolving world, stuff is always getting better. The people are going to find better ways to break in. People are going to find better ways to defend against it. And I mean, everyone's heard about like doxing and stuff like that, like when people's information have been leaked for whatever reason.
I mean, we had like major iCloud leaks, in the past, and
people hack PlayStation, Xbox. That whole the snapping, right? I don't know if you remember that, when people somehow found a way to hack the Snapchat cloud service, and they found out that actually your snaps weren't as impermanent as you thought it was. Like, people thought, my snap's gonna be gone within whatever time frame it was, like 3 to 10 seconds. Psych, they're actually being like backed up, and that was a whole thing that Snapchat had to change.
There's been obviously, a lot of leaks with the celebrity like nudes coming out. I remember
scandals
there was a
all
big
over the
one
place.
during when I was like a year 10.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a big thing. And I feel like it reminds me of like the new, I don't know if you know about the new update on Apple devices, like on the iPhone at least. What happens is now, like, every time you download an app or like you get an app, it basically asks you that you can opt out from like the app tracking you. And that's specifically on Apple. I'm not sure if it's on Android still, and some companies like Facebook were mad about it.
I'm not too sure about that, because sorry to interrupt, by the way,
No,
but
don't
I
worry
feel
about
like the whole it gets shady, right? It gives off a really weird impression when companies are mad about you having a
it,
choice
right?
on whether or not they can track you or not, because once they have revenue, they're gonna make more money. If they have more of your information, they can sell more of that to whoever wants it, aka
Exactly.
whoever wants to sell you a product, and it will seem as if they're doing you a service, but in the end, are you aware
What
that your
service?
data is being used that way?
What
How
service,
it's
bro?
being used? However many like people they might pass your information towards. That's why like, I mean, personally for me, like I don't think it's ever that serious. I've never really been too paranoid about stuff like that. But I do keep an open sort of mind, like a
I
second
think
take.
I think it's more. I mean, I feel like majority of it is not really harmful, right? Because,
Yeah,
but it's just a thing of like someone taking something out of you without you knowing. You know.
it's like yeah. I mean, obviously, to the people who do know, they'll probably navigate around this way better than I don't know the average Joe, the normal pedestrian, right? However, it gets sort of scary when you don't realize the extent. Like you don't know exactly how much they're taking from you, and how much they're passing on to, right?
Yeah. And
Because it's
what
not
they're
like the
using that information for, like.
exactly. That's I think that's the biggest question. Because I mean, it's always the theme of the unknown that sort of gets to people, as it should. I mean, scientifically, there is the uncanny valley, right? Which is one of my favorite sort of concepts. I think I've spoken to you about this before, but I personally love the whole concept of the uncanny valley because, as familiar as things might be, if they're just slightly off, only slightly off, that already sets off like a natural instinct in you to sort of be creeped out, be afraid, this sort of like uneasy feeling. And I feel like that's sort of what gets to people about cameras or your information being recorded. Because I mean, if speaking of recording information, if that camera was to be on without your consent, are you comfortable with the stuff that it's capturing? How much it's capturing? How much it's seeing?
I
Because
mean,
some people get changed.
even if you're not doing anything, imagine you're just chilling on the couch watching TV, but the fact that someone's
You want
watching
that
you.
exactly. Like then you start feeling eyes on you, and then it turns into this whole weird thing, right? But it's
And why
like
are they watching you? You know, why are they watching you? Like what they want.
right.
Like
I think speaking of being watched in cameras, I think Britain, aka England, London, is the most watched city in the world. Has the most cameras around. Like I'm not sure what the figures are exactly, but I'm pretty sure I heard a statistic where you can't do anything in London, even move a muscle without at least like 2, 3 cameras capturing you. And obviously, we don't have the facts to back this up. And you guys, I encourage you to fact check this stuff yourself. In
yeah,
your
look it
personal
up. Let us know
interest.
in the comment as well if there's a
Exactly.
specific number or
Educate us
something.
too. If we ever
Yeah,
say
yeah.
anything wrong, tell us. Let us know.
Yeah, we're fully
It might
open to
happen.
that one. Like just
Might
let us know.
yeah. It might happen more frequently than we'd like to admit, but I mean that's the general. We
But like
sort
that's
of
the
represent you
conversation,
guys.
right? That's the conversation
Exactly.
because it's
Not
technically not just me and Izzy. It's you guys
it's
too.
you guys
Or
as
it's
well. You guys are
everyone.
in on this too.
Yeah.
Like not everyone is gonna have all the information you need. Whenever someone comes across that has the actual information, drop it. Have you ever heard of this tactic that people do? Right? I'm not sure how widespread it is, but some people install fake cameras, like in shops and stuff.
Just to freak you
Like
out.
just to sort of like
Like
make you feel like there's a camera there, but it's not actually a camera. It's like dummies.
oh.
Because some people use it as a deterrent. You know how like
Yeah, like if you see a camera, you might not act up that much.
yeah, you might
keep on your lane.
think twice about what you're about to do in terms of crimes and stuff. Like I guess a light example would be in shops. Obviously they'll mix like real cameras with fake cameras and position it everywhere. So now it seems like
You're being
every
watched everywhere
single
you go.
exactly. But in
Yeah,
actual reality, the only person that knows that that's not the case is the shopkeeper.
yeah, and he
Now,
probably just has the front door covered. Interesting though.
who even knows, right? It could be that way, but what effect does that have on the human psyche? Well, now you think that you're being watched, you probably will, think twice about shoplifting or, stealing or vandalism, whatever. Like, I feel like that's interesting to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like in terms of like you said in London, you're being watched constantly. I feel like that's like a double-edged sword,
Yeah.
because honestly, it might be a great thing in terms of security. Because like especially in a city like London where there's a lot of crime, like
Idealistically, right?
yeah,
I
and a
mean,
lot
big
of
cities all over the place.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, like you can solve crime, but the other hand of it would be like, do you have a privacy in your country?
Yeah, it's like
Hancock, not calling you out, bro.
that's
Hey,
that's
wow,
quite recent. That's gonna date this episode.
that
That's
just
gonna
yeah,
date
I
it
just
for real.
bookmarked it, bro.
Man, like Matt Hancock,
I saw a
Matt
meme the other day.
Slancock.
I saw a meme the other day, where it was like, the Killer song, Mr. Brightside, and it was literally
Yeah,
it was literally a picture of him kissing the girl, and it was like, it was only a kiss. How did it end up
man.
like this?
I mean, we're not speaking on this to be political or anything, but it is quite funny how we're speaking about being seen, cameras and stuff, and quite literally recently, and oh, going more on that, I'll switch the subject back to like more creepy terms or whatever soon, but I saw on my YouTube actually there was a video speaking about how politicians are now unhappy about the fact that there are cameras within these offices because they didn't know, no one knew that they were there, and they're now calling it a violation of privacy. Just exactly what we're talking about,
But that's
right?
the thing, like exactly. I feel like that's the thing. Like, speaking of the double-edged sword, but that's the thing though. Like, you could, I feel like it could be, yes, it is a breach of privacy, but
Hmm.
you might need it as well to fight corruption, per se.
No, but in this specific case, right? Isn't an actual like what are they angry about? Are they angry about the breach of privacy, or are they angry about the fact that one of them got exposed and now it's a thing known to the public? And I bring this up because I read a fact, I think way earlier in my life, whatever. It's just a fact that you
Don't
read and you
quote
never
us.
really think, right? But
I'm gonna put like a "don't quote us" counter up in the screen somewhere.
just don't quote us.
Don't quote us,
right?
man. That should be a subline. Don't quote us. Marinate. Don't
That's just
quote
gonna
us.
make your life so much harder, but we're gonna do this for you guys. And just
Yeah.
as a funny little thing. But basically, the incident being watched is tied into humans because we're pack animals, right? I think back in, whatever period that is, we survive by moving in packs. We're not lone wolves or anything like that. We don't survive on our own. We survive in packs. And the thing is, some people will theorize that that's because of the whole pack animal mentality, and it's sort of like written into our DNA as an instinct, even to this day. However many years that might have passed, how many like bits of evolution, we still elicit that reaction when we see a yawn because that's literally what helped us to survive. It's the same thing with like innate fears of like darkness or stuff like that, because we know that actually no, we don't know what's there. We don't know if it's dangerous or not, and that's exactly why we're scared of it.
Yeah, that's the thing, like the fear of the unknown, right? I feel like your thing makes sense because I mean, pretty much if you look into any horror movie or like anything that's horror, there's always that scene, right, that someone's watching the main character, or like
Exactly.
they have the feeling that someone's behind them, but there's nothing there. But that's where the fear comes from, the fact that you don't know what's there. I feel like we're gonna go into more of these stuff like in the future episodes and stuff.
Definitely.
But like it reminds me of like this story. I'm gonna briefly like skim past it, but like because I don't want to give away everything right now. But like it reminds me of like this story you told me where I think you're like sitting in your own room and you felt like someone was next to you or brushed past you. Do you remember what I'm talking about? And like you
Yeah.
turned your head to look. Like I think I was on like chat with
We
you.
weren't cool.
Yeah. I
We
was on
weren't
chat
cool,
with
and
you.
it was really creepy.
And you're like, yo,
'cause
wait. And I was like, well, what happened? And you're like, I swear I saw something. Or I
This is
felt
giving
something.
me goosebumps, dude.
Word.
Like, for me, I feel like it's so strange that us as humans, like, obviously, other animals, I feel like it's built into lots of animals to sort of feel that sensation that someone's eyes are on you, the feeling. And it's natural. It makes sense when you can see or you find out what exactly is watching you. But when it becomes unnatural and you don't exactly know why you feel it, but it's still there, when stuff is missing in that equation, then you delve into that like creepy factor of like, okay, so what is it? Is it someone off in the distance I can't see? Is it something supernatural? Like,
Yeah, I feel like as humans, we are curious, right? We want to know, and I think that's exactly why when we can't find out what's actually there, what there is, or what it actually is, I feel like that's what
when information
we
is
feel like we're not in
missing,
control. Yeah,
yeah,
and that's
we
what we're
feel the
scared
most
of.
hopeless, and it's scary, right?
Yeah.
Because all right, let's think about it. in horror movies, since you mentioned that, right? What are the scarier horror movies? Is it the one that you see the killer? I mean, obviously there's other fears involved of like the fear of getting chased, the fear of getting killed, whatever. We're gonna dissociate from all of that right now. We're talking like the basic base feelings. Or are there films where you don't see exactly what's causing all of that trouble? I feel like personally to me that's way more scarier.
Me growing up, I mean, I still do sometimes. I used to listen to a lot of creepypastas, like on the internet. I'll
Yeah.
just go in and just like listen to them on the
I feel
background.
like everyone had a phase like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And basically, I think the ones that were the scariest is where you don't really know. Like, cause some of them, like, you tell me, oh, you know, I went there, this happened, and then I felt some sound behind
There's a
me. I turn around,
reveal, right?
and then there is this big monster behind me with long claws that rips people in half. I mean, that's when it just kind of takes away from it.
It's all right because I mean, like the good thing about creepypastas or certain ones is that they leave you enough room in the narration and the writing for you to imagine whatever it is
Yeah.
and picture it, and put yourself in it. I feel like that's the best sort of horror when you allow the audience or the viewer, whatever, whoever's consuming that content, to place themselves in that situation. I feel like that's the most effective because then once it becomes relatable, once it becomes something that is almost real, that's when it gets to people the most. That's the
Yeah.
sort of thing that makes you feel like, man, I can't go to the toilet tonight. I don't want to go into like a dark corridor. I don't want to go up or down like a dark staircase right now. I feel like this has been a sort of ever growing conversation, right? Which is leading into things. But that's the general sort of thing that we're going for. Obviously, if you guys have any other topics that you might want us to talk about, or if you have any suggestions, drop that in the comments, and maybe we'll make a little episode on it, or we'll bring it up.
As you can see, we can spiral out of control. I think what were we even talking about to begin with?
Something. How do
You
you
see,
get
I
from
don't-
cameras to this?
Bro, like literally, like we went from like Hancock to cosmic horror, like
Ooh,
this is strange because I feel like and that's
Yeah.
exactly what we do, and this is exactly why I wanted to start this podcast because
it's
it's a conversation,
it's the sort of thing that we wanted to capture and share with you
and
guys.
there's like
because,
ups and downs because some serious tones, and we'd just be making the most terrible jokes, and
I mean, as you may probably have guessed, there is no script to this. I don't think we ever will write a script to this.
Never.
Because we're not trying to constrict ourselves. There's no limitations to this podcast.
oh,
Wherever
that,
we
you shouldn't have said
lead it,
that. Let me fix down the script. You should have said.
I think it says somewhere down here that we're wrapping up soon, guys. I'm joking,
Oh.
no.
You know what it is. Just let that marinate.
I think with that, that's gonna be
I
episode zero.
ended it terribly. That was the worst. I just jumped in, just ended.
You guys
the
get
whole,
a gist. You
I
guys
just-
get the gist of it.
I just ended your whole flow. My bad. Like he was on it, he was talking about this is what we did, and I'm like, let's that marinate.
We'll pick a common or a little topic, and each episode at the beginning, we're gonna, shout you guys out, read it out, feature it, something,
That's
some
actually
form
really
of
cool.
interaction, right?
I like that.
So-
I think that involves everyone too. Especially if there's any creepy stories that happen to you personally, like hit us up. Like,
Oh,
we'd
yeah.
love to know. I think
We
that'd
could
be
have a
really
little
cool.
section talking about that. That's very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
down for that.
So
And everyone always has stories.
let us know, guys. And also the fact that it's the episode 0. We don't know what we're doing. We're having literal technical difficulties mid-video. Random cuts that you don't know what's happening.
It's all very
Um,
organic.
So we're trying to figure it out as much as you guys are. And I feel
Mhm.
like the whole idea of marinate is very open as of right now. We're trying to figure
Literally.
out as much as you guys are.
We're just gonna drop in a bunch of topics, throw it all in there, let it marinate, and then we'll see how it goes. This is where we do the mandatory. If you're seeing this on YouTube, please do just give us a little like, subscribe if you wanna, and drop a comment.
Since we're plugging ourselves anyways, might as well. Social media is up below somewhere around the screen. Do hit us up. I
We're-
feel like we're pretty active on those. Because I'm thinking, a little bit of some polls maybe, some yes
can
or
do
no's.
polls.
It'd
Mhm.
be, I think it'd be interesting just to get a gist of what kind of topics you guys like or you might be interested
Yeah,
in.
that's great.
Or just
Yeah.
to give you a hint of what's coming. I feel like that's the thing. It's not more about, us trying to promote the thing. It's more about us trying to understand what would you guys like to
Yeah.
watch.
Like we
what
really
works.
just want to involve you guys. This is gonna grow into the community or a group of people who just are interested in similar things, who enjoy this sort of vibe, this sort of content just to start, only the beginning, and you guys are coming along with us, so feel free.
Yeah, that being said,
Peace. No, I'm kidding.
that's the worst ending. I'm ending this right now.